2 weeks ago, they took away limited rewards from the common competitions, but now they are back and available to earn in the free-to-play pickup competition. This is great news. And in addition to that, you're gonna wanna see some data that I have, a highly advanced way to compare two players created by David, a YouTube subscriber on this channel. I'll show you what it does and how to get your hands on it all in this weekly video. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, we're diving straight into the content today. I'm going to break down these spreadsheets for you, but before I do me a favor and hit both the subscribe and thumbs up button on this video. I put these videos out every week, just like this, bringing you value in Sorare NBA. Subscribing to this channel is a free and a huge way to support. I really appreciate it. While you're down there, feel free to drop a comment or join the Discord. Come hang out during the week. It's been a ton of fun in there. At the end of the video, I'll shout out the private league winners and give you some of my takes on the limited rewards coming back to the common competitions. All right, now here's the spreadsheet created by David. He reached out here on YouTube. He's helped me walk through this. It's amazing. He created it to analyze players and make his decisions with the Sorare gallery, as you can see here. I'm going to be using one particular example. We're actually going to go through 3 examples today. But the first one here is going to be choosing a player versus a player. In this example, which I'll get to in just a second, is one that you might want to sell. This spreadsheet right here is all the fantasy data for every player taken through the entire season. So really, really robust and dynamic spreadsheet. It has drop-down lists, and we're going to get to that with an example right here of Lyles and Dwight Powell. This is something I plan on using in future videos and becoming more familiar with too. So not only this season, but also in the next season. If after this you feel like you want more information, I'm going to put it down in the description as well. Information on how you can get it, where you can follow David alongside my links down there. So I know it's something he plans on working on into the season. So if you don't do it now, maybe it's something that you can keep in mind for the future. All right, let's take a look at this example and how you would use it. Okay, in this example right here, he's deciding, I know there's a lot of words on the screen. I'll get back to the chart in just a second, but I wanted to break down the scenario for you. He's deciding whether or not he wants to sell about 10 rares that he has in his collection. He wants to keep one. He wants to sell one. One of the guys he wants to sell may be potentially Lyles and Dwight Powell. So he's going to analyze that with his analyzer tool. It's going to give him a lot of data. As you can see there at the bottom, Lyles is $25. Dwight is 18. So and he comes to a conclusion because of this, is that if he really needs to sell now, would be to sell Dwight and keep Lyles to play. If he wants to get the most money out of the 2 players, he'd sell Lyle because of the price and low 10. So again, just to sum that up again, if he wants to keep somebody to play, he would keep Lyles because Lyles has the potential, but that makes Lyles also more attractive on the marketplace. So if he really wants to sell both of them and just get more money, maybe play Dwight Powell, finds that Dwight is going to be fine, then he could keep Dwight, sell Trey. Back to the chart, and I'll break it down for you. Here they are. Here are their charts. You can see last 10, last 5. The difference between those trends, the fantasy points per game based on, what their maximum potential scores were. Lyles had a massive game. You can see with that peak right here. And then a couple of good ones over here from Dwight Powell. You can see the progression on their L10 to kind of see where it's going, which is something that you cannot see on Sorare data. So it's great to visualize it. It also comes up very quickly. So you have this information at your fingertips. You're able to make very quick decisions is a key point here. So also down at the bottom, I really love this, the fantasy points per minute and fantasy points per game chart. So to the left is per minute. To the right is number of minutes played. So take a look at the chart compared to the number of minutes that they play. But what he comes up with here is a few things, okay? They're very close in terms of fantasy points per game, almost 15 for both over the season. So 15.7 versus 14.8. Lyles plays a little bit less minutes on average, okay? but does have a higher fantasy points per minute. He's able to sustain himself above 1 for several games. Powell has not done this season. That you can see with this yellow line down here. So this is the 1 point per game. Here is Trey Lyles, and then Dwight Powell has always been below that. Something important to keep in mind. Trey Lyles also, this red line, minutes played in terms of minutes played, very volatile. Dwight Powell is getting more consistent moments throughout the season, something to keep in mind also. Scrolling back up here, you can see that they both scored defensive points. Trey Lyles, 44% of his points are defensive, and then Dwight Powell, 51% of them are. So if you're a guy looking for a boom on defensive stats like I do sometimes, that's really good to know, especially if you're looking for somebody to keep in your gallery long term. And then if you look at the charts, you can see that Dwight is currently kind of towards his max range of L10, whereas Trey Lyles is a little bit lower and can go to a little bit higher, seeing this last 5 is starting to creep up here, meaning his last 10 will trail off of that. So you use this chart, you go to the marketplace, you see what price each of them is currently commanding, and then you make your best decision to sell. Who do you want to keep in play? Who do you want to sell? We're expecting prices are going to dip in the off season. So stuff like this can be important, especially if you're working on a budget, and it could be super, super helpful. So really, really love this data right here. And again, like I said, I'll be using this more in videos into the future. Also, you can take a look at things like this. You can use it to supplement Sorare data. Okay, so I am on my current lineup trying to build my roster for the week. I have a few guys in there. This is a concepted tab. Okay, so I have 4 people. I have 31 points left to fill. I get this question in the Discord a lot. Who can we fill in there with a 31 point cap remaining? So I go over here and I kind of filter by the guys who have 31, especially if I'm looking to potentially buy this week. 2 guys that I potentially could look at are Jeremy Grant and Nick Claxton. Nick Claxton, this is updated as of last night, but he has a sore torn Achilles. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to pretend like he is not injured. So we're going to compare these 2 guys. Both of them, Claxton will probably be back for the second game, hopefully. So both of them have a last 10 of 30 with potential of 37 plus. Jeremy Grant looks like a max of 61. Claxton, a max of 53. So I'm going to take a look at both of those guys on the marketplace, also using this tool to determine it. As you can see, they're very similar in price. Jeremy Grant, $13.82. Claxton, $14.25. So almost the exact same in price, about 50 cents of a difference there. So I'll go back to the chart, put in Claxton. We'll go Grant first, and then Claxton. And then you have the analysis right here at your fingertips. So fantasy points per game, you can see they're about the same. Fantasy points per minute. Claxton is able to sustain a higher amount. If you go over to the graphs down here, it's kind of the same as we were looking at the last one. He's able to sustain over 1 point per minute pretty regularly. Less volatile when it comes to minutes. Grant is lower than 1 fantasy point per minute. So Claxton probably is going to be my guy here. Another reason that I do like that move is because a lot of his points are on defense. I like these defensive guys. And he's also got less turnovers, which are hurting your score negatively. A really cool thing to keep note down here. So turnovers per game, Jeremy Grant at 1.9, Claxton at 1.3. They're both not very volatile. So that's good to keep in mind. A lot more defense, of course, from Nick Claxton. 57% of his points are defensive stats. So fantasy points per minute, that's a big one for me, much higher on that end. So more stable, as you can see these lines right here, the last 10 points per game, he's gotten all the way up to 50 multiple times in the season. If you're going to go for the boom in this situation, Grant has done more than 50 twice. So he's gotten close to 60. He's broken 60, looks like about a 63 based on this chart here. So visualizing this stuff is just super helpful in general, guys. So hopefully it's helpful for you. I think that is going to be it for today. 2 examples of how you can use this tool. Another one that I was going to touch on, but I think I'll save for another video, is you can see their course of action throughout the season of how many minutes they're actually playing. So the example was, we had a player that we were looking at, and you could see that their minutes per game had basically gone in half over the second half of the season. You saw that by analyzing one of their charts. And because of that, their price kind of plummeted. You want to sell that, and you want to recognize that trend as soon as possible so that you can sell it, so you're not holding kind of like a dead card, dead money in your gallery. And you can use it for other stuff to play. All right, because things are still kind of interesting when it comes to the pickup games, right? I'm not going to announce that. Maybe I'll announce the pickup winners at the end, but wanted to shout out the limited, especially winners in the NFTY Sports Private League this week. Shout out to a nice first place finish from Ransom Reed. He's been up there in the leaderboard quite a bit this season. Same goes with Teg 13, Red Auto 5, Phantom back in there at number 4. For the limited contender, congratulations to the top 3 in this group: Alabek, Best Fantasy Games, and NJM. Teg 13 also down there. Also another shout out to Samaros. I think he came in 5th for both of these competitions. So shout out there as well. Might as well do the limited tip off while we're at it. Noe Cepeda, Tiny Giant 45, Sensor Khan in there with the top 3. Nice work. And then in the pickup competition, there we go. Samaros in there up at the top. Finally cracks the top 3 in there. I know he's been up there before, but impressive 294 in the pickup game. Black Jelly 7 in second. RDEP 1423 right there in third with a 287. Ahmad, shout out Ahmad. Scott Morris down in 4th and 5th down here, 255.8, 251.48. All right, there you have it. Thank you for watching. We have some advanced data for you. Feel free to check it out down in the description of the video and give me any feedback that you have on it. You can shoot me a DM, pop into the Discord and chat, and check out David. Consider his services. Follow him on Instagram. All his information, like I said, is down below. I'll definitely be using it more this season and into next season as well. As for the limited rewards, they are back in pickup games starting in game week 41. I commend Sorare for listening to the people. I think we're all happy to some extent, no matter how hard they are to win. It is just nice to have a chance. I was hopeful that they'd come back, and they've come back sooner than I thought. All right, I'll see you next week. Best of luck in the upcoming game week. And if you are a baseball fan, or if you want to learn more about baseball, come join us in the Sunday stream. The first one is this Sunday. It'll be every Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll talk to you soon.